This demo covers basic plotting in Matlab. So if you're given some function like this, theta of t, function depends on time, your task is to make a plot of theta versus t, or time, for a certain range. In this example, I'll go from 0 to 10 seconds. So we'll look at two options. One is directly plotting in the command window in Matlab. The other is to create an M file. Once the plot's created, we got two options for adding titles, labels, and that stuff. We can use the GUI in the plot window, or we can add Matlab built-in commands to the M file. And then once we're done, we'll talk about how to save a plot for use in a report or presentation. Alright, so first thing in Matlab is to, if you're going to do a function, go ahead and use the help. In this case, the command we're going to use is plot. Scroll on up. So read the help file, gives you a plot x comma y, gives you all kinds of different options here. That's the command we're going to use. But before we can make a plot, we have to create the data. So for our example, we needed a time vector, and I said time was going to run from 0 to 10 seconds. So we'll use t for time equals, and I got to create a time vector. I'm going to go from 0 colon, the next element is the step size. We'll go in 0.1 step size, colon, and then the final time, 10. Close the square bracket, and then hit return. So there's my time vector. If I don't want to see that, I can hit the up arrow, and that gives me the command I just typed. I can use a semicolon at the end, and that way it won't show the whole vector. So there's my time vector. Now I need to build the theta function. So let's call it theta equals exp is the e to the x function minus 1.02 times my time times 1 parenthesis minus 0.027 times the cosine function of 5.81 times time minus 0.00475 times the sine function 5.81 times time. Alright, and then I've got plus 0.027. Now this is going to error out because everything in Matlab assumes you're doing matrix multiplication, and we really want to do element by element multiplication. But I'll go ahead and hit the return button, and it says error because its inner matrix dimensions don't agree. So we need to use a different function for multiplication. Help dot star. Alright, let's see what that tells us. Operators and special characters. This does array multiplication instead of matrix multiplication. In other words, element by element. Alright, so I'll go back here, hit the up arrow. There's my function, so I just need to put a dot in front of this guy. I could put a dot in front of all these multiplications just to be safe, but if I'm just doing scalar multiplication, I don't need it. But I'll go ahead and put that on there. I'll put the semicolon on, and there I've got theta now, and I've got t. So now let's use the plot command. Plot t comma theta, and there's my plot. Simple enough. That's just using the command window. Next, I want to create an M file. An M file is something that I may want to use over and over again and may want to make some changes to it. So the way we do that is File, New, blank M file. You could also just hit this button over here, but it's the same thing. So I'm going to grab the commands I just did here, and we're just going to cut and paste these guys into the M file. There's the time. Grab the theta command. Paste the plot command. Paste. Okay, now I've got the three commands, but it's in one file. So this time let's save this guy, save as, and just give it some kind of name. I'm just going to call it pitch angle plot. Yeah, let's replace that. So now we have a command called pitch angle plot. Now I can go over here to the command line and just type the name of the M file. Pitch underscore angle underscore plot. And there it is. So I either can do it with the commands in the command line, or I can make an M file where I string all the commands together in one file, and then I call it, in this case I call it pitch angle plot. Alright, now that we have a plot, let's talk about how do we add labels and titles. We can either insert here, X label, Y label, title. Let's go ahead and put that in. So this would time, seconds, or insert the Y label, theta, radians. You get the idea. Or you can go under here under tools and do edit plot. Now it's kind of, now what, right? So double click on the inner plot, and now we've got things down here. We got tabs, x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. We can play around with that. Let's say I want to go from 0 to 20. I can do that. Hit enter, it resizes the plot. Y-axis, maybe I want to go to 0, 05. I can do that. I can change the tick marks. Let's say I want to go into point 02. Okay, so now I've got 0.02 tick marks. Maybe I want to go 0.05 finer. Okay, there we go. So I can also so I can change the tick marks and obviously the range, but I can also add grids. Here's an X grid, here's a Y grid. And then when I'm done, I just click the X box. Now I've got a plot. So let's close that. Let's go back to my M file. I can also do, from the M file, I can type in X label and put one bracket, one quote, and then the title I want. Time in seconds, in quote. There's my X label, Y label, theta, radians, if I could type good. Okay, and then I hit save. Now, if I type my command again, it should have, and there it has the labels already built in. So if you're going to plot things multiple times, use these functions over and over again, you may want to go ahead and hard name using the X label, Y label commands on the plot so that you don't have to go in there and constantly pull down all these different labels and plotting tools. Your choice. Alright, let's talk about saving a plot. Let's get this guy back up. Alright, so there's my plot, file, save as, and then I just, wherever I want to put the file, so wherever you put it in your directory, and then you can do it as a .fig, or you can, what I like to do for Microsoft Word and PowerPoint is a JPEG. So JPEG, and then just whatever you want to do, name the plot. And it'll go in whatever drive you put it, and it'll be a JPG, and you'll be able to use that in Word and PowerPoint. That completes the lesson.